Now, it's been a summer of sun and storms, and all those heavy downpours can overload our sewer systems. But why is untreated sewage simply being dumped into our rivers? Here's Tom.
The UKs Rivers. They're the lifeblood of our landscape, shaping habitats, sustaining wildlife, and offering adventure. Today, with coronavirus foreign travel restrictions in place, even more of us have been enjoying them than usual. But just how clean are our waterways?
Well, perhaps not as clean as you'd like to think. We've discovered how often UK water companies are dumping untreated sewage straight into our rivers.
This is the River Wharf in Ilkley, Yorkshire. It's a popular spot where families come to cool down.
But it's also where the debate about how we treat our rivers and waterways is really hotting up.
Becky Malby is an experienced outdoor swimmer. As part of the Ilkley Clean River campaign, she's on a mission to create the first designated bathing place in a UK river.
To Ilkley, as you can see, it's incredibly beautiful, and you'd expect this river to be as clean. I mean, it looks marvellous, doesn't it?
Official bathing water status is normally given to our coastal waters and lakes. It means swimmers can be confident that water quality is being closely monitored. And today, whilst it might look nice on the surface, there can be all sorts of nasties lurking beneath.
On a day when the river's lower, you find that there'll be the sorts of things you put down your toilet.
Yeah.
And that's horrendous.
So how would designating this as a bathing spot, how would that help?
If we get designation, there are two things that they'll have to do. The most important thing is they'll have to test the water, and that will then determine the overall quality of the river. And it would mean that they'd have to put signs up to say, this is the overall water quality. But on days when the river's polluted, which is when it rains, they would have to put warning notices up and let people know.
Becky believes this is the main source of the problem. An emergency storm drain, known as a combined sewer overflow, or CSO for short. It's operated by Yorkshire Water and relieves pressure on the nearby sewage works.
In exceptional circumstances, like in heavy rain and floods, water companies are allowed to release sewage into our rivers to stop it backing up into people's homes. It may not be nice, but it is legal.
It's a problem CountryFile first looked at 2 years ago.
Over there, I think there is a sanitary towel down there.
But across the UK, what we flush down our toilets is still being spotted in our rivers. Using environmental information regulation requests, we can reveal that across the UK,
Sewage was released into the rivers 440,000 times last year, and that's just the ones we know about.
And that's because we've discovered that a third of the UK's emergency-only storm drains are still unmonitored. So what exactly is in these discharges?
It's a fantastic day for sampling.
Today, here on the wharf, freshwater ecologist Professor Rick Batterby is testing the water to find out.
This sample is a sample that we'll send off to a lab to look for coliform bacteria, fecal bacteria.
Rick says pollution comes from lots of different sources, including agricultural runoff, but he's really worried by the levels of E. coli, which he regularly finds even from the treated sewage.
The sewage work takes a lot of the bacteria out, but it doesn't take all the bacteria out. So we still have here probably 40 times the amount that you would want to have if this was going to be suitable for swimming.
And when it comes to improving water quality, it seems we have quite a way to go. In England alone, only 1 in 7 of our waterways meet the good status standard. GP Natalie Curtis believes that the pollution in the River Wharf threatens public health.
On a hot sunny day, it'll be really busy.
Having a good time?
Having a great time, yeah.
She says her family found out the hard way when her 15-year-old daughter Sarah was in the river last year.
So I was swimming with my friends, and then I unexpectedly got really ill. Upset tummy, vomiting,
really sick.
yeah.
I mean, it is a beautiful river, and a lot of the time it's functioning as an open sewer.
And what do you think about that?
I think it's genuinely shocking, and I feel naive that I hadn't tuned into that.
It's really gruesome. I still haven't gone in the river since last year.
This CSO is just one of over 2,000 operated by the local water company. It says 99% of them are now monitored, but that doesn't stop them from spilling sewage. Richard Emmett is from Yorkshire Water.
Now you've got the monitoring, how many spills have you had on those?
In the last 12 months, 22,000.
It's one thing knowing where a bad thing's happening. What you really want to do is stop the bad thing happening. How are you doing on that?
Absolutely right. Actually, having the data is a big step forward. There are about 10 or 11 frequently overflowing CSOs, which we can now look at how we can reduce that.
So when will it be safe to swim in the water here?
It's already safe to swim in the water here, but don't
Well,
forget...
we've interviewed people who've been made ill by the water here, so...
Well, I hope they got better very quickly, but you have to look
Well, 2 or 3 days of extreme discomfort. It's still not pleasant, is it?
Well, I think there are wider safety considerations about swimming in the wharf than just anything to do with our CSOs. Dales rivers are spate rivers. They are dangerous places if you don't treat them with some respect.
But at parts of this river, you've got E. coli levels that are approaching 40 times the safe level here in Ilkley, where a lot of people swim.
All the assets we have here in Ilkley, whether it's the treatment works or the CSOs, are currently performing according to their permits. That's the way in which it's measured.
The Environment Agency told us that it has identified over 200 overflows in England, which will be improved in the next 5 years, and that the monitoring of CSOs has also been increased. Becky wants to see greater investment in sewer systems across the UK. She believes separating heavy rainfall from household sewage can help our rivers.
First thing is we have to decombine the system here in Ilkley. We've got all the runoff, all the rainwater coming from the moor, from people's front drives, from the roads, mixing with all our household sewage, going to sewage works and completely overburdening it. We need all that rainwater as much as possible to be decombined from the sewage and going into the river direct.
But change will inevitably come at a cost.
You have to remember, changing 150 years of civil engineering and the way in which these systems work doesn't happen overnight. So much as we will want to change it as quickly as we can, these are not trivial or straightforward things to do, otherwise we would have done them by now.
Yorkshire Water supports the application for this to become the UK's first designated bathing river, and a decision is due by the end of the year.
The smell is shocking.
In the meantime, clean water campaigners will be keeping a close eye on our rivers.
Because what happens here in Ilkley could lead to cleaner, healthier rivers across the UK.